if I could help you to see one thing, it would be to see that you have wisdom within you and that wisdom matters. But I invite you to first meet me on the bridge of understanding, because I'm using the word wisdom in a way that you might not be fully understanding, in at least the way I'm expressing it. Wisdom is, the way I'm using it, the word, it means clear seeing and clear being, because seeing and being are the same at the deepest level. And I'm not talking about seeing with your eyeballs. Awareness, seeing, and being, identity, the I and the eyes, the deepest seeing are the same. And when that is clear, unobstructed, open, it's wisdom. When it is obstructed, clouded, creating a closed contraction instead of an opening, then it is just simply a lack of, like a dark room just lacks light. It's not an equal opposing force. If you open the door between a dark room and a light room, the light will flood the room. Wisdom can flood the empty, dark spaces of ignorance in us. And this is not about knowledge. So wisdom, the way I'm using the word, is not knowledge. It's not book knowledge. In fact, knowledge has a place. Knowledge is necessary for me to make this video for you. I needed to know about this. I needed to learn. Knowledge is necessary in my profession. It helps to learn so that I can master certain skills in my life, do a better job, for example. But knowledge is not wisdom and can obscure wisdom if we think it is wisdom. You see a tree. Knowledge is the label in the English language, tree. Knowledge of the tree is all the other labels, all the other things we know or don't know about trees. It's what we've learned about trees. Now, as you stand before a tree, there are two opportunities. There's one, the opportunity to connect to your mind's knowledge of the tree. But if we're not doing this consciously, that connection to the knowledge of the tree means that you have taken attention, and attention is a function, it's a moving function inside of awareness, and that attention is now placed on the thought bundle of tree and everything about trees that you know, memories of trees. Oh, I like trees, I don't like trees. There's something about an apple tree that it's more thoughts, right? It's like thoughts making more thoughts. It's knowledge. And your knowledge of tree could mean that your attention is now on the thought of tree, and that could be a useful thing. It could be helpful. You need to remember the name of the tree. You want to think about trees. But what if you want to connect to the tree and not tune into your mind? Because wherever our attention is, that's what we're tuned into intuitively. That's the song we're pushing play on in life. Scroll through play, song plays. You put attention on your mind, you're pushing play on the mind, and you've not met the tree. Hi, tree. Second opportunity is to consciously know that we can move attention from the thought to the tree, to be interested in discovering the tree, tuning in that spontaneous moment to the tree, and maybe the reality of the tree beyond the knowledge of the tree, beyond the words and the labels tree. Then we push play on a different song. Wisdom is, when it's translated into words of wisdom, that is when we learn to push play, when attention is resting in your being and seeing, instead of on the surface mind. And the metaphor that I use for that, therefore, is the wisdom well. When attention is only on knowledge, only on thoughts, and the recycled perceptions and ideas that we've inherited from life and learned. That's like dragging our bucket through the sand and expecting water. Because here's the thing, if your attention is on the part of your mind that's asking a question, I'll say that again, if your attention is on the part of the mind asking the question, that part of the mind does not have the answer. That's why it's asking. So we've got our attention in the wrong place to expect answers, insights, clarity, realization. So sending that bucket into the well means learning to direct attention in a different direction. Instead of towards the objects and the contents of awareness, we call the ambassador of attention home to rest in the being. And when we do that, it's like sending the bucket down into the wisdom well. The bucket fills with water, and the experience of that is a felt sense of increased peace and all the qualities of your true self. You've pushed play on that now because that's where attention is resting. And that, of course, is love, peace, beauty, wholeness, the kind of contentment and deep satisfaction that neutralizes all the swinging pendulum push-pull of the mind, of the surface mind. So the second opportunity here is, instead of pushing play on the surface where only the questions and the duality and the noise and the bucket would be just full of sand, is to discover that there is an open, expanded way of seeing and being that is natural and ordinary, and that is available through calling attention home to the self of this open being. And that in that you can realize, I am not the surface. I am not my thoughts and the questioning and the contracted surface. I am this open awareness. And of course you have that within you because it is you. If we look long enough at the reflection of water in the wisdom well, we realize it is the mind looking, and the only one seeing and being is you, the self. That you've never looked from a thought before. You've only looked at thoughts. You've never looked from a thought as a thought. You've only looked at thoughts. You've been aware of thoughts. Thoughts have never been aware of you because you are that prior to thoughts. So the reason I know you have wisdom in you is because I know you are this clear seeing and being. And the reason I know that this matters and finding this matters is because just like a dry desert can be transformed by crystal clear water, turning it into a garden, every part of what it means to be alive is enriched, freed, liberated, opened, nourished by this seeing and being. It is blessed by this seeing and this being. But it means digging our wisdom well. It means calling attention home to the self. It means learning to discern, oh, that is what my attention's on, and this is rested attention. And then, possibly, not necessary, in that open, clear seeing, we have a third opportunity to learn to translate the clear seeing and being of wisdom into words of wisdom. But here's the emphasis, translate, which means that wisdom is not words. Just like wisdom is not knowledge, wisdom can never be a word. The word is always the clothing, the translation of the seeing, which means it is always fallible. It is just good enough sometimes. But what I have come to realize, which is comforting, is that beneath the words is always the carrier wave of the song of the self. So even if we don't translate well, or even if we translate well, but we know the words aren't it, the words are sent with an inaudible, invisible carrier wave of the song of the self. And because of that, like wisdom recognizes wisdom, water recognizes water, the self recognizes the self. There's the potential for the words of wisdom to catalyze realization, and that matters.